Okay, let us start. So tonight, what I'd like to work on is um, whole word selection. So I have like selections working. You can just select. That seems a little weird. There might be like something glitchy going on there. I have to look at. We'll fix that tonight. Anyways, you can select words. You can like take a thing and like copy paste it if you want. I don't know what happens if you copy this, but yeah, it doesn't copy like colors escapes and stuff like that. It just copies the text. Um, and it like strips off a bunch of like white space at the end. Um, so that is pretty cool. Let us add some words. So let's take a look at that code quickly. Selection. This is for drawing the selection. This is for updating the selection. So what we're doing here is we call this on every frame, and we have this click parameter. So if we're check if we're still held down first, and we update this click parameter. So if you do a single click, it enters just normal selection mode. But if you do that's not that glitchy. That's kind of behaving how it's supposed to. That's interesting. Anyways, if you click once, there needs to be like a countdown before to determine if you've clicked a second time and you want to double click. Um, so we handle that here with this timer. And then what we do is after we've updated that timer, and we check if you're not held, we just return. Otherwise, we continue making a selection. And by doing that, we just get the cursor position. We calculate which cell the cursor is just over top of at the moment. Here, um, if the mouse hasn't moved, so like if we just sit here and we're holding the mouse without moving it at all between frames, we don't even try to calculate anything. As soon as you try to move like a tiny bit, you're gonna make a selection. Um, that's good. Then I'm here, I'm just doing if zero. So if we're in the mode where we're selecting words, as in we've double clicked and now we're doing some stuff, we want to go into this branch. Otherwise, we're going to do this. But this, I think, is going to have to get cleaned up a little bit. So we'll do that. So I'd like to introduce a concept here of like a range, I think. So instead of having like selection start and end and then like these other parameters, I'd like to have a function here that's going to be called something like get word under cursor. And this is going to return a range. Word. We'll pass in t, and we will pass in the mouse. Sorry, we're gonna pass in the new p, not the mouse. I don't care about the mouse. And then we're gonna want to do something like selection dot range is gonna be equal to join ranges, join range, join cell range. Cell to range, and this word. And then here we'll think about how to update this to do that. So let's start by updating, typing the wrong thing here. We're gonna update the selection. So here we have this. We're gonna introduce thing here that's going to be a range. It'd be like a cell range. I don't know if it's like relevant or not to have that. For now, I think we're just gonna call it range. This is not open. We're gonna call that range, and then we're gonna do in here. We're just gonna have two. It's like IV2s. So actually, we're just gonna have this start and end. We're gonna join all this stuff together here. So then in here, we're gonna have a range. And I'm going to comment out these words for now until we write these functions so we can just fix the other bugs we just introduced here. So here it's going to be I have a different function called selection update selection. Yeah. Here we're going to have something called bool32 is valid range. This is going to take a range and it's going to return r.end does not equal -1. And r.end.x does not equal -1, and r.end.y does not equal -1. Just do it like this. Okay. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to go back to this error. We're going to say if is range valid, t2 selection dot range. Do this. Cursor is going to be range dot start. Let me see here. We're just going to break these out. We're going to go range end equals t2 selection. Not range, sorry. IV2 end is going to equal the t2 selection range end. And then we're going to do this. We're going to do end.y. Where else have we got that? Here. End.x. And that should be it for this function. Wait. Is range valid? Okay, I'm just gonna move this out. This is like way below. I'm gonna open it. I was gonna put it in utils. Not here. Equal IV2 is valid range. And really what this could be is not equal IV2 r.end and invalid selection point. Did I type that correctly? Equal IV2, not equal. Yeah. Okay, so where are we here? Where is that declared? Oh boy. Sure. Yeah, whatever. That's fine. Not gonna get too hung up on that. Why is this still oh, right. Oh boy. What can you do? Sometimes you just want to have a nice you just want to have a nice single compilation unit, and this is what you get. Where is that? Why did that disappear? Now this is where I might want to just call it like cursor range or something, but that's fine. Eat all that and go up here somewhere and put it in like a more appropriate place. Invalid range end. Okay, so this is going to be invalid range end. Excuse me, is valid range called okay. Here we're gonna do. So this is. I'm gonna think about how to clean this up here in a second, but okay. Um. Okay. Don't know what that number is. Let's call this no, whatever. Let's call it end. It's okay. Okay. P to selection range, start. Invalid range, end. And then we just have a warning. So, I guess I am not building this in debug mode because this did not read load. So I'm going to close this, build this. Okay, so selection's still working. Obviously, we didn't do too many crazy things there. So now update selection. Start with this. Let's call it that way. And we're gonna put this in the terminal code. Get word around cell. Term pointer T, cell C, not cell, IV2 cell. Okay, so S %D E %D, and we're gonna do word.start.x, word.start.y, word end x, word end y. So here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna say term view Let me see here. Sorry. What's it called? Render frame buffer. What are we just doing here? We are grabbing into this frame buffer. We're just using this as a cursor. So we are going to do the same thing here. We're going to do what's it called? It's like, what's the type for the frame buffer? It's just a frame buffer. F pointer FB is going to equal so we're going to take this. Oops, don't need this word here. Then we're going to do if is space FB to cell sorry, FB to FB to rows cell.x, sorry, cell.y, cell.x. Do one thing, else we do a different thing. Result is going to equal start equals cell, end equals cell. So we're going to do two things here. While cell.y greater than or equal to 0, and FB dot, or FB to rows, not cell.y, sorry, my bad, cell.x, cell.y, cell.x, I believe it's called is space. We are going to result dot start dot x minus minus cell dot x minus minus. Technically, we could combine these, and then let's actually do it this way. So actually up here. Sorry, it's greater than 0, not greater than or equal to 0. Let's do this. Yep, that looks good. And then we're going to do result dot end dot x less than p to size dot w. so that will work for those two. And then this will be exactly the same thing, except now we're just going to do not space. And that should do the trick. Besides the fact that I missed a thingy there. What did I call that? I thought I had a macro for this already. No, there's no underscore. Okay, so be it. Okay. Oh, my bad. So this is CP, obviously. Okay. Cool. So we reloaded. So now let us see here. So we're still just, this is normal selection, word selection. So that gave us 53, 14, 98, 14, which is this whole thing. So that seems correct to me. We could do like here. What would happen there? Why is this one not working? Weird. That works. It's not right actually. So it's actually off by one because this should have just given us the same cell back. There's only one cell here. So let's fix that quickly. Uh, this is like a round word. So I mean, this can go out of bounds though. So this is gonna get a little complicated. Um, Let me think here. So instead of doing this, we want to do well, so this wouldn't go out of bounds immediately. If it started out at 0, this would actually be fine. Because this is already accounting for that. But this maybe that's just correct actually. 44, 5. That would make sense actually. But for some reason there's just like a lag thing going on. Oh, because the mouse check. That's why. Yeah, right. Actually, how does that work in ST then? So in ST, it just automatically works if it's a double click, but if it's a single click, it doesn't automatically work. So we can do that. I think that makes more sense. Hey, Stern would be yes, yes, of course. Yeah, sorry, I was just testing the space stuff first to make sure it was working, but yes, that is correct. What did I just type here? Oh, sorry, I forgot what I was typing. Cell to state does not equal word. Am I using like multiple ways of referring to the same selection here? Delta state does not equal SS words and okay, so now if we click a space, it should just instantly do it for us, which is what we want. So then we'll go back to this, oops, get word around cell. And we're going to do the exactly what you just suggested there. So -1 and +1. I think these are valid, but I might introduce a crash with this. But we'll see. That gives you a whole word. That gives you a whole. Oh yeah, that looks right. I mean, that's actually the correct word there. So, and I haven't introduced a crash with that yet. And like way over here, it looks correct to me actually. That should be okay. Now we have to join these two selections. Wish this didn't jump around like that. It's really annoying. So we need to do I see. Oh, I think I know what you mean about the garbling. Um, yeah, you meant like this part. Uh, feel like I think that's actually right. I think these do need to be -1. Both of these. Oops, I didn't finish typing what I was typing there. Yeah, right. Presumably that's better. Should be 003. Looks good. That looks correct to me. So let us comment that out. I'm just gonna actually I don't even know if I need to keep this, to be honest, but for now I'll just comment it out. Okay, so this one is going to be join. Let's just call it join range. Open util.c. Okay, so we're going to do this function. I don't know how to, I'm not sure. I'm going to write this something really dumb first, and then I'll think about how I can simplify it after. If so if A is not a valid range, this jumping around. No, that's good. That's good. 31. So save this value. Save the value to a conditional and then keep a single if else and do is space equals is space. Right, so I think I see what you're saying. I think you are right. So, okay. While is space equals is space, I think that's right. Besides me half typing other code and not finishing what I was doing. Just shut up this warning for a second here. Let's go back to this. Oops, I probably shouldn't have closed that. It's okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's a good call. That's a good call. Thank you for that one. Okay, so here, I don't need this to be initialized right now. If A is not valid, let's do some bools here as well. return range dot end equals invalid range end. Oops, not that one. If not a valid, result oh sorry. Let's do this. Return B. Not be valid. Return A. Else they are both valid and we need to join them. So all right, so I mean, it's basically this code that I have here, but this code is kind of so if a dot start well really yeah, let me think here. So if a dot start dot x and a dot start dot y, really I'll just keep this less than or equal to, it doesn't really matter. Less than or equal to a dot b dot start dot y, then result dot start equals a dot start. This is where it like becomes a problem though. So which one of these is not? You have to look at the minimum of each of these things and decide. So if the y's are less, let's do the easy thing first. So if the y is is less than that, then that's definitely true. Else, if b dot start dot y is less than a dot start dot y, otherwise they're equal, and we have to do the x thing. So yeah, so okay. we're just gonna write the obvious thing, the most obvious thing, because and then I will look at it in more detail and clean it up. So that's the starts handled. I think it's just the same thing for the ends. And then there's going to be a simplification here, but we'll have to think about it. Want to see if this is going to work first, and then we will decide. Like already kind of seeing what I need to be doing here for this simplification, but okay, so let's just try. There's a word. Wait, why is that not selecting that? So actually that's off by one. It's not a whole word. Because comma is not a space. So that's like off by one. So that's most obvious there. But if we drag, we do actually have word selection. Think. So I need to figure out what to do with the invalidating the range. But so that's a good start. Now we can go to terminal.c and actually get word around cell correct. So let me just think here. So if this is, I just think it, well, no, that wouldn't break it. So, also it's worth noting that the start is correct. So it's just the end that is not correct. Which is weird. Is space just checks if there's a new line, a tab. No, actually, none of these are even going to appear. I just really need to just check for this. But in any case, where is the problem here? So it's like right now, if we just copy this as well, I just want to check. It's not going to paste that. So like the copy whatever code is all correct. It's just this is somehow off by one. Um, Wait. This should be like an inclusive thing. There's something like this range, which I thought I already got rid of printing, but it's still printing. Um, that is actually the cell that it should be. So where's the copy code? What are we doing here? This should really be less than or equal to end y. Yeah. And then, or not end y, sorry, end x. Yeah, here. And then if we go up to update selection, this new, that's a little weird actually. This can be, this is only going to point. That's actually annoying. It's just a range with the start and end are the same. Okay, let's get rid of all of this. Don't need that. So right. Is this actually copying the right thing though? Now, I think it is. Yeah. So it's just the display is actually wrong. That was just like a bug in the old one. So, draw selection. If active. Yep, that looks good. So that's more like it. So if we copy that, it is actually what it's supposed to be. So now let us try doing this. Yeah, it's looking good. Now the only thing that actually is still different though is that I think maybe it's actually not. Oh, it's just a cat. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Right. You can actually shrink a selection now. Okay, so that's the next task here. We actually have to it's not just joining the range, it's actually is it like it's like a union, I guess. An intersection. So it's intersection. That's what we're doing. We're trying to intersect the existing selection and the sorry, no, so the new word, right, okay, this is where it's like join isn't the right join isn't the right name for this. It's like append selection, append new selection. And the new range end needs to become the range end. So, um, we still need to do this. But then here we need to, oops, result dot start should equal. No, we still have to check if it's like, because if you're like selecting upwards, you need to, so we still need to do all of this. It's just the end point. Let me think. So the starting, um, right, this is like a little challenging. So, hmm, how do we do this? Let me think. This is I just need to stand up for a second, to be honest. I'll be right back. So, okay, so what happens is we click and we do this, and we got some range that's forming, and then we're still holding down and we move left. So we have a point under the mouse now that is entirely in the range, but this is challenging because like the directionality of it can like make things really weird. So like the starting point is always just fine. It's just if you start and then you start doing this and then you go the other way, that's where it becomes a problem. And like I assume this is handled here. Yeah. So really what we want to actually do is have the selection start be like an anchor point, and then the selection end is moving. So to do that, that is not too hard. That's actually kind of simpler in a sense, I think. Because the end just becomes whatever the only problem though is that the let me think about like the anchoring if you're doing like a word selection. So if you're doing like a whole word selection, the anchoring should still just work because you can only have one word selected at a time. So let's rethink this a little bit. Um, this append range is really not. I'm going to delete that function altogether, I think, because I don't think it's actually useful. I think what we need to do is here's our new point. If we're in word mode, we're going to get a range. Otherwise, we're just going to use that point directly. Um, then once we have that, we need to basically calculate like a new end. New end point. It's called new point. New point and new end point. So here, we're going to do some trickery to figure out the new end point. Here, the new end point is just equal to the new point. Cell to range dot end is going to equal the new endpoint. Then anywhere we're referring to this, we are going to need to we're going to basically need to get like a normalized range. So static range, normalize range. If if r dot start dot y is less than r dot end dot y, result, sorry, this is some weird typing going on here. Result dot start equals, so result just equals r. You don't even need to check that. Else if r dot end dot y is greater than r dot start dot y, result equals range. Let's just do, sure. Dot start equals r dot end equals r dot start. Else they're on the same line. I'm going to return a result here. Otherwise, they're on the same line, and we just need to say that r dot start dot y equals r dot end dot y. So this would be result dot start dot y equals result end dot y equals r dot start dot y. And then we need to have the r dot end dot, sorry, result dot end dot x is going to be equal to the minimum, sorry, the starting x is going to be equal to the minimum of r dot start dot x and r dot start dot y, r dot end dot x. And then the ending is going to be the maximum of those two. Okay, so that's going to give us our normalized range. Which we will have to use anywhere we're handling the range. So here, for instance, we need to get a normalized range. Normalize range p2 selection dot range. And then the cursor is just going to be the cell start, and it's going to be the cell end. And the rest of this should be fine. And then the draw selection needs to be adjusted. Render frame buffer. Selection.range. Okay, so that should all be fine now, because I think I adjusted the rest of this to not use that. Now we can try this. I could type the right thing somewhere. Where's the problem here? Hello? Good. Very useful error message there. Yeah, we will just print that for now. I don't really care. New NP is used uninitialized whenever if condition is true. Yeah, that is correct. So let's just shut that up for now. Fix that in a second. Okay. So theoretically now, this selection, this normal selection should be elastic. The word selection doesn't work. So that's good. Exactly. Perfect. So let's do this. Perfect. And then let's go this way and then back. Perfect. So that is expected as expected. Typing the wrong thing. We'll close that. Now, here we need to do something fancy. So we're gonna get rid of that line. We're gonna do first of all, if the word dot start dot hello LEB, how are you? If the word dot start dot x is less than the current selection, that's not right. Oh, it's going pretty good. I had word selection. Like the word selection actually works. It selects the whole word. I just need to figure out how to join that with the existing selection, and it was working. Except it wasn't like you couldn't like in ST for instance, you can like select a word and it's like elastic. Like it shrinks and grows as you move the cursor, but I didn't have that. But now we have that for single that doesn't let you go up. That's a bug. Okay, that's a bug. I have to fix that. Um, for like the single character selection. But oh yeah, that would make sense actually. Is this new point? Yeah, yeah. It's not necessarily new NP. So this actually has to handle the same thing as this one up here does. Okay. So here we have to go if new p dot y less than cell dot start dot y. This should be working though. I think it's the normalized range is broken. Because this endpoint is allowed to just go behind. Oops, I was doing word selection. Do both a character-wise selection and a word-wise selection, then just use union to just union the two selections. let me just think about what that means for a second. Um, both character-wise and word-wise, and union the two. I think that's right. But anyways, let me just fix this normalized selection because this should be working. Also, let's actually just spam the console for a second here. Actually, I know that's already working. I need to spam the console. Let's open the util and check what happened here. So if start y is less than end y, yeah, we don't need to do anything. If end y is greater than, I typed it's typed the same thing twice. So I would explain that. Yeah, I know that's unused. Okay. Good. That was a stupid typo. I don't know why the C compiler doesn't warn about that, to be honest. Because that's the same condition twice. So it would never hit this because, yeah, I don't know why that's not a warning. That should be a warning. So okay, so yeah, I don't know. That seems obvious to me, but who knows how the C compiler? Who knows anything about the people who program C compilers? Um, I wonder if that's like a warning in the Jai compiler. Anyways, so we've got a range, and we have the starting point. Um, and we just want to join this word to the starting point. So let me think here. So we need to take first of all, oops. So okay, so there's one thing that we just know is that whatever this new p, this new point is, it's contained in the word. So since it's just contained in the word, you kind of need to adjust the we don't want to do it this way. If cell to start dot if not equal IV2, cell to start, and new and word. Hello NDB, welcome to chat. This is Gen 2, but any of my Linux or BSD installations end up looking like this, so the desktop's running Gen 2, but like my laptop doesn't use Gen 2. What happened there? Um, okay, so yeah, this needs to be equal to the word start. If they're not equal, then we need to set the cell start to the word start. It doesn't even matter. We can just always do. No, we can't always do that. You don't want that needs to be like an anchor, so you don't want to adjust this. You basically want to check that the the anchor point. So if the anchor point is in the word, we need to just. Does it even matter? Maybe it doesn't even matter. Okay, so right. So when we increase this into words, we need to adjust the start and end. So let's do that. Mouse callback. Mouse button callback. Yeah, okay. So if we are now you need to get this. If the selection equals words, else this. P2 selection range equals was the function called? So I just wrote get word around cell. Get word around cell. P and cell. Okay, now if we go back to update selection, here we can now just we need to find like the minimum. I think we need to just find the, let me think here. So let me just do this. So we've got like a word selected. That's not a word. We've got like a whole word. This would be the whole word that we're selecting. And we move the mouse over 1. So now we should be adding one more. Okay, this is maybe this like single word, having the single range for the selection might not work with the word condition, the word case. Or why not? I guess it should just work. You just need to figure out. Okay, yeah, okay. So if cell to start um, word to end dot y or cell to start dot y equals word dot end dot y, and cell to start dot x is less than word dot end dot x. Then we can set the new endpoint equal to the word end. Um, okay, um, otherwise, we need to set the cell start equal to the word start, and the end point will not be new endpoint anymore. It will just be endpoint. New end p. So maybe this doesn't need to really be in here. But we'll for now. Uh, yeah, this isn't quite typed correctly. Um, let's put this on another line. Oops. How is this going to work out for us? Could be wrong. So this is normal selection. Word selection. That's a whole word. Does not anchor correctly. Does anchor correctly to this in this way. It's not, it's just if you go behind it, it's wrong. Okay, so this first check is correct. It's this other one where we're assuming we're just behind. Um, why does that happen though? Hold on, what? Why does that even... I don't actually understand why that happens. That's really weird. Um, so we've got the... Okay, so here, let me just think again. Think about this again. So we've just got a new word. That's before the cursor. Well, that would still be covered by this case. Um, well, maybe it's not actually covered by this case. If word dot end dot it doesn't, it's like both cases are just wrong, which is a little weird. So let's just not do anything in this case. So let's just see how we are getting here. Let's see where this gets us. Just copy the range. But so when you go to word selection, this way is fine. This way does nothing. This way moves the whole thing, which is weird because the range end is not changing. Why would that? So, like, that just tells me that the normalized range is working fine. If this one's working fine and they're both calling that, it just means that something here is going weird and something's like getting clobbered. Because if we just found a word, I don't see why this doesn't work, to be honest, because the start range and the end range just look fine. This mouse is like double clicking, but um let me just think here. So okay, let's do this a different way. So like a word cannot span multiple lines, so let's start with this. If we're on the same Y, then cell to then new endpoint should just equal word dot end. Oh, if word dot end dot x is less than delta range dot start dot x, new end should actually be equal to word dot start, else it should be equal to word dot end. Okay, I'm not like super happy with what's just being written here, but let's just try this out for a second. Oh, we have to do like a shuffle though, if that's the case. Yeah, we have to do a shuffle. Oh, that's kind of annoying. How did I do that? Okay. Yeah, we have to do like a shuffly thing here. Yeah, I'm getting rid of this part here. This part's dumb. We're just gonna do it this way. And also I'm gonna do it this way. Oops. Look at that. Okay, so if these are on the same, if the word's on the same line as the current selection, then and the word end is greater than the starting end, then this is really easy. We can just do cell to range dot end equals the word end. But if the word end is before the range, cell range end has to equal the same thing as it was before. But the start has to equal the word dot start. That part would be correct. Okay. Yeah. I don't care about new NP. We're not using new NP anymore. Oops, there's one more use of that right here. Hello? Oh, my bad. New P. Okay, there we go. So this should work if they're on the same line now. It doesn't. Just flip this around so it's readable. So if word end.x is less than the starting point, then the word starting point should equal, or the range starting point should equal the word start. Otherwise, the word end is greater than that, and it needs to also be greater than. Well, no, it can only be greater than. It can only be equal to. So this wouldn't matter. This part is fine. Like this should just be end, but that should be fine. Besides the semicolon that I saw I missed as it was compiling. So why doesn't that work? But it works in the other direction. That's even weirder. Why does it work? That doesn't even. I think it's like we're calling this multiple times or something and something weird's going on. Yeah, you know what? That's exactly it. We're calling it multiple times and then like a weird thing is just going down. Um, if we haven't moved the mouse, don't do anything. So well, that's only part of the problem though. We need to just maintain in here the greater the end, the larger end. Oh, and also this is wrong. So we're only checking that this. So if the starting y, that explains why this doesn't work. Okay, this code is kind of starting to become a bit of a mess. So yeah, if the starting range is on the same line, um, and the end the and the range let's start dot x is I want to do dot x. No, it doesn't matter. So we're on the same line. That part's fine. This is only going to work in the one direction, right? It doesn't work in this direction. It should work in this direction now. Okay, one direction at a time. Else if this and word dot end dot x is greater than so if it's on the same line, only that part matters. If the start's on the same line, So if the end is on the same line and the end dot x is greater than the cell to range dot end dot x, then we can do the next part. Now this should work in both directions, but it doesn't reset. It's not elastic yet. Wait, how do we make it elastic though in this case? This case is not going to work to make it elastic. That's the problem. We need to like keep track of where the original um if the word dot n dot y. No, this is like just wrong. That's not elastic. So let's make this one range, one direction elastic. So the new word dot end is we need to split this onto multiple things again. Else the word dot end is greater than the start. Shouldn't this just always be the case? Yeah, so this works in this direction. I don't know why that's even why that is making a selection, but anyways. Else if start with this. Let's go to this one next. Something slightly jank going on there. Why is that like getting shifted? That's not quite right. So you've at least, I'm gonna probably want to stop soon, but so at least we've got this. This is annoying. Like, why is there like some jank going on here? Where if we like select this and then we slide it, it like screws everything up. So if you slide it like that, the end doesn't change. Oh, it's because we've already handled the already handling that. We're already this else part doesn't even like work again. If here, I don't know why I'm checking this either. The word can only be on one line, so I don't know why I'm like checking that like that. Okay, this is like still the jank though. That's wrong. It needs to be like handled separately somehow. We have to like determine which. So if we're on the same line, it's basically like this needs to be needs to be like that. Um, let's out. Make sure this still works. We're not that obviously shouldn't work, but it should work in this direction. Yeah. Okay. So then I'm still just thinking we need to have like an anchor word. I don't see how we can do this otherwise. The anchor needs to be like separate from the selection point. I think that's just like just the solution is to just have in the selection an anchor. And then in the mouse callback, we set the anchor, and that's the only place the anchor gets set. Mouse button callback. And probably we can still just leave this as is for the other mode. Um, yeah, that's gonna happen. Oh, and that's also gonna cause a dump for Vis, because Vis doesn't like when you close the terminal underneath it. Probably, maybe. I'm not seeing it in here. Maybe it's fine. Um, yeah, that anchor was not correct. But anyways, oh right, because that range is not invalid on startup. I'll have to fix that in a second. Okay, so in update selection, Where do we set this to like invalid range end? It's the only place where it's being invalidated right now. Okay, we have to figure that one out after, I think, but that's okay. Update selection. So we get a word, if we're going to check the anchor now instead here. So if cell to anchor dot start dot y equals word start dot y. Cell. How do we restore it though? That's the problem now. So okay, so cell. Let's just do this. Cell to range start equals word dot start. Yeah, what we had here, except it's like the anchor. So we need to just do this relative to the anchor always. So if cell to anchor start dot y is less than word dot start dot y, cell to range dot start equals cell to anchor start cell to range dot end equals word dot end. Else, if these two things are equal, hello? I don't know why that's not working, how it's supposed to work. This. If they are equal, we do something. Else they are not. Else the word start is greater than that. So then we basically just do this, but in reverse. Word dot start anchor dot end. Rid of this junk, all of that junk. Okay, so here, if they're equal, if word dot start dot x is less than cell to anchor dot x, cell to start, cell to range dot start equals word dot start dot x. Cell to range dot end is going to equal else the start is after, which then means we do the other thing. Oops, that should be like that. I don't know why I typed that. Okay, otherwise, so this would be cell to anchor dot start and word dot end, not x. What's going on there? Okay, let's see how this plays out. Right. I shouldn't have deleted that. What's it called? SS words. Okay, so there. That's words and working in that way and that way. Good, we got there in the end. I think you just need to have that anchor. I don't know if it's possible to do it without the anchor. I'm gonna look at what ST is doing after and see if they had a different way of doing it. I think you need the anchor because otherwise you can't like your thing's just gonna shift around underneath you. So that is looking pretty good now. Um, so this is just if they are equal, and I'm gonna make this the else case. Hello. Thank you, ST, for your masterpiece. It's just a little bit more better to see what's going on here, I think. Might be able to see how to simplify this if I do this instead. Oops, where did I mess that up? Hello? Else, if, not else. Okay. So that shouldn't really mess anything up. Cool. So that's pretty sweet. So let us take the win on that, and we need to invalidate the selection other times as well. Actually, let me do that as well. Let's delete that. We don't need that. Let us when should we reset the so I kind of like the way I know that the way ST does it is like they check. I don't know when they check though. They basically just check that when they're drawing, so when they're updating the frame buffer, if the cursor used for drawing the frame buffer collides with the selection, they invalidate it. Now, possibly we should just always store the normalized selection and then use the anchor in the yeah, that would make sense to me actually. So in here we could do and at the end we would just do a old cell to range equals normalize selection. Or normalize range, rather, is what it's called. Then here, we don't actually need to do this. Everywhere we're just calling normalize range. Alize range. We don't really need to do that. Just here is the only place where that has to happen. And then mouse button. Oh, but this is valid range isn't gonna be correct anymore. Right, so we should, in mouse button callback, we should set the anchor this is when we've it only gets called when it's pressed though. It doesn't get called for repeat, so we can do something here. We can do that's fine, and then invalid range end. So when we click, it invalidates it, but then you can still drag. Then when you do that, you copy correctly. Right? Looks correct to me. And we can still do our word selection here. That looks good to me. I just need to like get rid of this, right? Like when we're scrolling like this, we don't want the selection to stay active. I think I'll fix that separately though. So let's take the win here. Yeah, there's like quite a lot of changes that we had to do to get this one working, but yeah, so this part though is still I'm still happy with I'm happy with the way that this get word around cell came out. Thanks to our snr for the tip with using this to remove one of the if statements. The valid range stuff is good. The normalized range is good. So we're gonna do git add util.c. And we're gonna add util.h, obviously. And then terminal.c for get word around cell. And then this whole thing. This should be fine. I'm gonna include that. I don't need that assert there because it's checked right immediately afterwards. So let's do that. I'm not carrying that around. Okay, so git cv add word word and elastic selection. Cool. So that is a good place to end it. Let us do colors. I don't know, don't ask me. So thank you for watching, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow. Probably I'd like to start working on the uh, LRU hash for glyphs so that we can have Unicode glyphs finally. But there's actually like a bug with the font rendering, which if I don't figure it out tonight, which I might not, it's already late, then I will probably do that tomorrow first before we start looking at the LRU thing. But we will see. This is pretty cool. This is working nicely. I feel like that's weird. Oh, it might be just how this is. Yeah, it is. Okay, never mind. That's not weird. It just inverts the cell, so that makes sense. All right, cool. So I will see you all tomorrow or next time. Bye.